Hello, everybody. I'm Toby Shifsky with Kaplan Real Estate Education, and you are here for our Real Experts webinar. Today, we have none other than Green Helge. Oh, I knew I was going to screw it up. Greg. We talked about this earlier. Greg Greenhalgh. And Greg is coming to us from Colorado. Greg, thank you for being here today.
Yeah, Toby, I appreciate it. It is an honor and a privilege to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. If you don't know, guys, Greg is actually an instructor at Kaplan also, and is like it's like a Superman role for us. You know, nobody knows his real identity, but at Kaplan, he is a real estate licensing instructor in Colorado. But Greg is also a super successful team leader in Colorado. In fact, let me just give you a little bio and background on why Greg is here. Over a 10-year veteran, I think you said 13 years, right? Representing buyers and sellers. And I think one of the unique things is Greg has represented just buyers and just sellers in his career, which I think is kind of an interesting aspect we're going to cover. He's in Fort Collins, and he's built a strong reputation through his professionalism, right? Attention to detail, commitment to prioritizing his clients and students' needs alike. I think one of the things that is unique, and you're going to see come out of this, is Greg has talked about not being a transaction or transactional with its clients, and he's going to talk about what that means and how that actually plays into being a successful agent in the business. So, after studying broadcast journalism at the University of Colorado and starting a career in local television news, Greg discovered his passion for real estate. And we're glad you're here, Greg. And you've been instrumental, right? The launch of a national real estate brokerage. So he's seen it from the big side, served as director of operations for a prominent Colorado real estate office. You've seen the management side and worked as a mentor, coach, and educator. Greg, who received his real estate license from Kaplan, the education, has now returned as an instructor and for pre and post licensing, teaching new and seasoned agents. And Greg, I just got to say, I'm glad you're here. And we're going to have new and seasoned agents on this webinar. And so we're looking forward to you sharing with us kind of what it is for managing real estate teams, kind of the tips for leading a winning team. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, like I said, I'm excited to be here and hopefully share some tips, tricks, some insights, and even some struggles that we've had over the last 13 years to hopefully help some of the folks here listening in and even joining us live, that maybe they can take some of those back with them and implement them also in creating teams that can be successful in their areas as well. Excited to be here.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's do this. I'm just going to start with a quick poll. Okay. So we can kind of gauge who's in the audience. We do this pretty much every time we start a webinar. And so let's go ahead. Here comes the first poll question. It's just so we know kind of where you're at in your career and we can kind of tailor the conversation to where you're at. So everybody should have a chance to see this poll. If you're on your phone, you may need to swipe the screen to come to it. But let's look at this. How long have you had your real estate license, right? Currently taking classes at Kaplan. How about that? You guys who are sitting in classes, and there will be a lot of them. I think we're over 50% already. People are so excited about a real estate career. Greg, they're coming here to learn before they even have their license. I love it. Less than 3 years, 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10, and 10 plus. We have quite a few people in at 10 plus years, as a matter of fact. So this is going to be good. So we got a couple of people who aren't even taking their licensing yet. So they're just coming here to learn. So that's fantastic. Once again, I will always share the results of the poll. And then you guys should all know too, as you're playing along and, like we got Tammy from New York, we got, Gianna from Boston. When you guys are playing along in the chat, yep, we see your name. We know who you are. But when you do the poll questions, we're hoping for full honesty because it's all anonymous. Nobody ever sees your name. So I'm going to go ahead and share the poll results. And how about this? We got 50%, 50% of the people are currently taking classes. We don't have anybody here with less than 3 years. They know everything. Actually, they probably got their head down, cranking hard, trying to make money. And then so we got up to 5 to 10 years. We got 8% of the people, and 10 plus years, we got 17% of the people on, Greg. And then finally, looking into getting my license, 25% of the people are thinking about getting their license. Here's what I can tell you. Some of the best times, the people who I know who have been the most successful are the ones that get into it when the market is the hardest. As they're hit at the bottom, they learn the best way to do business, because you have to learn the best way to do business when it's skinny. Anybody can do the business when all you got to do is, fog a mirror and, stick a sign in the ground. But to learn at the bottom and be ready for when we come back, because we are cyclical business. If anything in my 30 plus years of being licensed has taught me, there is a cyclical nature to our business. So here we go. I'm just sharing the results with everybody. You should have it on your screen. You can kind of see what the results are. And let's go ahead and jump in, because Greg, I want everybody to kind of understand from your perspective. I don't know if everybody knows this, but Greg, in his 13 years, has built a team now that's approaching almost 200 members on his team. And that's a rarity. I have not heard of that many teams with that many people on it. So you guys are in for a treat. And I'm going to play along and I'm going to ask questions, but feel free to throw out some questions. And we're going to understand kind of, managing a real estate team, tips for leading a winning team. We're going to get that today. All right, so let's do this. Greg, I'm just going to start from the very basics, the essentials, right? What are the key elements that you see of a successful real estate team?
Yeah. Toby, it actually comes down to pretty much three items that we take into everything that we do, from the creation of the team to even how we train, plan, implement our calendar, what our future year looks like. We're approaching now the fourth quarter. And so we're starting to look at what does 2026 look like for us, and how do we take our team even from 200 agents to 250, 300, 400? What does the future look like for us? And so it comes down really to those three cornerstones. The first one being vision, right? Vision gives people something bigger than themselves that they can actually buy into. And that's so, so important. Our team doesn't just sell homes. We create generational wealth through real estate. And that bigger why, if you will, is what ultimately drives all of our agents forward. So we have a clear understanding and a vision of where not just I want to go and where I want to take the company and the team, but where each individual 200 agents all want to go. We have the roadmap, the treasure map, whatever we want to call it. We all have that same exact map, and we know the beginning point and the end point. Second one is culture. And I'll be completely honest with you. You highlighted this a little bit earlier in my bio. I appreciate that. I did. I came from the TV news media industry. And I'll be completely frank and honest, the word culture has this negative connotation. When I was in the TV business, the word culture was nothing more than just a sticker on the break room wall, right? And nothing made me more aggravated and agitated, because we really didn't have a culture. We just had a really pretty sticker that said that we had culture, right? So when I came here, we created the team. I put culture first. I believed that it was everything. I know that agents just don't just join my team just for a split, for compensation, because I have fantastic training or a super fancy office. It's because I have a room filled with growth-minded people who celebrate each other's wins and they push each other to the next higher standard. That's what culture is. Culture breeds culture. And when we celebrate together, when we fail together, that's ultimately where we win and again, progress in a multitude of ways. And then finally, that third cornerstone, the word accountability. When I first say it, it makes people cringe. Sometimes it makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up, right? Accountability, it's one of those words that we hear like in the gym, right? Nobody likes the word accountability. However, we believe here that accountability is simply the glue. Every top athlete has a coach. Every top team needs a system, not only to measure, to track, but also to elevate their performance. So we, as a leadership team, hold our agents accountable. Our agents hold us accountable. And together, we have an accountability scoreboard that we look at on a daily basis to say, what is the score? Where are we at the end of today? Where are we at the end of the month? Where are we at mid-year? Where are we at the end of the year? Are we winning? Are we losing? No different than any scoreboard that you watch with your favorite sports team.
I love it. Maybe we could just take a second to unpack some of this, because there's some uniqueness in here that I kind of really like, and I'm not sure everybody caught it the first time around. But
sure,
you know, when you talk about clear vision, the funny thing was the clear vision wasn't, you know, we all want to drive a Mercedes, a Bentley. The clear vision wasn't, I don't want to have a yacht and a vacation home. The clear vision was actually pretty selfless. Um, it was a vision of building generational wealth for people. How do we get them into, because, and that kind of covers so much. So there's, because how do you get them into a property right? How do you get them in so that they can actually build wealth through over time by being a diligent homeowner?
I love that you talked about that. So, again, I've been in the business for 13 years. This office was not the first one that I started at. I made mistakes and thought that I had found my home. And it wasn't until I landed here that I really found my place. And I think that that is the most important, especially for our new agents. You know, you said there's 25% of our audience today is those that are getting their license. I can't express enough how important it is for you to interview offices to find not only these cornerstones that align with your own personality, your viewpoints, and what it is that you want out of your business, because that's ultimately what you're creating. We also do the same thing when we're hiring our agents. If you're looking to be a transactional agent, and again, you kind of highlighted it here in the intro. If you're looking to be a transactional agent and you simply just want to close 20, 30, 40, 50 transactions so you can drive that Bentley so that you can be on Bravo's next big top hit TV show and have all of the dollar bills, then we are not the fit for you. Instead, what we do is we talk about true, wonderful, passionate stories about the people that we get to help day in and day out. There's a story of literally just a closing that we had just a couple of weeks ago, where a gentleman literally, came to the closing table and he's sitting there with his family and he broke down in tears. And so, of course, the agent and myself, we immediately go run over to him and, asking, is everything okay? We were deeply concerned. And what's interesting at the end of the day, it wasn't about the paperwork. It wasn't about the payment, right? It was the simple idea. And what he said was, for the first time in her life, his daughter, she will have her own bedroom. She's 10 years old. She's been sharing a room with her little brother for her entire life. But tonight, she gets her own place, a place to grow, a place to dream, and just be herself. It's in that moment right there, Toby, in that moment. It's not about square footage. It's not about comps. It's not about commissions. It's about the dignity, the love, and the hope, and about the people that we get to help. That little girl will remember her first bedroom forever. And so will her parents. Those are the stories that we have on the walls of our offices. It's not the biggest checks. It's not who closed the most transactions. It's that culture and it's that vision that we're out there helping people find the ideal thing that we all strive for in building generational wealth, getting into a home, whether it's a first-time home, whether it's your second home, whether it's a retirement home. We're building those lasting stories, and we are just so lucky, I would say, to be able to be a part of those stories.
It's super interesting, and it's probably a whole nother topic in itself. But I just want to, if I could give any sort of wisdom of even personal experience on this. So I got into business 35 years ago, whatever it is, and 34 years ago, and I was good, Greg. Like you, I'm good. But I was pretty transactional, frankly. I was so good and I was so transactional that I kept thinking, what am I doing? What kind of value am I really bringing to people? I kind of lost a little of that feeling of purpose when I was doing the real estate. And what that led me to do was to be passive in all of the things you need to do to be really good, to get the return customers and all that kind of thing. And so this really kind of resonated with me when you said that the clear vision wasn't about the cars, the transactions, the number. I want to do 100 sales. It was about the people you're helping.
Correct.
I think that's an important thing for existing agents. I know there's some people out there been in this for 5, 10 years going right now listening to this that'll say, I struggle with that too. Am I just in the rat race? Am I just cranking homes? And so,
And you're exactly right. You know, Toby, my first year, I went in cranking, right? Like I said, I got out of the news media. I told my parents, hey, thank you so much for sending me to NYU and spending $1,000 on my education. But guess what? I'm going to go be an independent contractor and I'm going to be a commission-based employee and I'm getting into real estate. As you can imagine, I made the hair of both my parents curl and they said, no, you're not. And I said, yes, I am. This sounds like the coolest job that I could ever have. Interestingly enough, my very first year, I was on a team and I closed 100 transactions. A lot of people would say, wow, that's incredible. They would give me millions of thumbs up. They would give me a pat on the back. I got a beautiful crystal trophy that sits on a bookshelf over here and just collects dust. But just as you said, it was very transactional. And what ended up happening is my second, my third, and my fourth year, I did not get one person to refer me business. I did not get any referral business. Because what ended up happening is every single person was on a conveyor belt. Every single person was no different than that of the checkout person that's at your grocery store. It's transactional. Beep, beep, beep. I wasn't creating relationships with those people. I wasn't understanding what they were ultimately looking for. I was just trying to get them to the closing table, to get to the next closing table, to the next transaction. And that's where I really had to take a step back and say, was it more important to, again, be really good at real estate and close a lot of transactions? Or is it really more important to make amazing relationships with a third of those people to then build my business based on relationships as opposed to just the dollar bills in the business that was in my pocket?
so thank you for unpacking that and being real about that, because you guys, this is different. This is a way to build a winning team, having a clear vision of what really is your mission in your community. What is your commission with your clients? I mean, your mission, your commission. It was like a Freudian almost. What is your mission with your clients? That is a powerful force. And like you said, if you can create a culture where you celebrate and fail together, but you do it together, right? And then you have some accountability so that you know that everybody's got their oar in the water and they're rowing, and everybody's in they maybe not all rowing at the same pace, but they're all rowing, right? Each to their strength. That to me sounds like a fabulous base to a wonderful team. So let me ask you this. They got a lot of new people sitting in class or not even taking their real estate license yet, right? And we tell people, we have for years, that there may be some real advantages to working with a team when you're fresh into the business. What do you think the advantages are being a part of a real estate team for somebody?
Yeah, it's plain and simple, right? You don't have to do this business alone. That's it. You don't have to do this business alone. I think that real estate can obviously feel very isolating, especially as a solo agent. You're trying to juggle contracts at midnight. You're unsure how to get your next deal. But when you're on a team, you have the shared knowledge. There's always someone who's been through that challenge that you're facing that you can work with, you can mastermind with, you can rely on the struggles and even the success that they've had and work together in solving whatever issue you're going through. There's leverage, right? Admin support, transaction coordinators. You have marketing staff that can help you and ultimately free up your time so that you can focus on what you're ultimately best at doing. And finally, I think community, right? People who cheer you on when you get your first listing or even when you close your 10th deal is amazing, right? Again, when you don't have that, and you get that commission check, it's so fantastic to go home and hang it on the fridge and talk about it with your family or your significant other. The celebration pretty much ends at the dinner table and you're back to work the next day. Go get another one there, Tiger, right? It's much different than when you're on a team and you're all rooting together, celebrating again those successes, getting past the inspection, getting past the appraisal, getting your next appointment. I personally remember, when I got into the business, I didn't want a cold call. I felt that was nails on the chalkboard. I didn't think that I was good at it. I never thought that I would ever be good at it. I now am in a team setting where there's agents on my team that are really good at cold calling. Because I sit next to them every single day, I hear them and the scripts that they're saying. I hear the conversations that they're having. I'm constantly taking notes and adding the golden nuggets, if you will, into my own script so that I can repeat the exact same things that they're doing. The biggest thing I think about being a team and something that we've had so much success on is hey, you're successful with your listing presentation. Can I have it? Can I copy it? Can I use it? Right? Let's share what's working for you. It can work for somebody else. And so that's the most powerful tool, is that you're not constantly creating and trying to be an expert in all things of real estate every single day of the business, but you have,
which can be overwhelming, right? I mean, it can be overwhelming. It can be. I mean,
absolutely. There's a lot to it.
No, there's a lot to it. So, we look to it as there is the possibility of great guidance, mentorship, getting somebody with a passion, a vision, but I think the key for me out of maybe your whole response was, you can do it alone. You can, but you don't have to. And that's what a team can operate and afford somebody. Along with that structure and resilience and all those kind of things.
Another point that I would highlight there, Toby, is especially for some of our new agents that are getting a license, especially breaking into the business, it's a lot to learn, as we know. And once you get in, it's even more to learn to feel like you're going to be successful in taking care of every single part of the transaction, dotting every I and crossing every T. A quick little story is, I'll never forget that a brand new agent who, nearly quit 3 months in of being into the business. And, she came to one of our team meetings. She's nearly in tears saying, maybe I'm just not cut out to be in real estate. And what was amazing is that her team rallied around her. They coached her, they helped her through her first few contracts. And amazingly enough, now today, 2 years later, she's now in the top 20%. We didn't allow her to give up. We gave her that love. We gave her that protection. We gave her the resources and tools that she needed, so that we wouldn't allow her to be one of those agents that unfortunately fails because they didn't feel like they had the support. And like I said, she's now in the top 20% of my team. That would have never happened if she was doing it alone.
Yeah. Let me do this. I'm going to ask another poll question. Everybody, you get to play along here real quick, because I wonder how many people are already on teams that are here playing along with us. So let me go ahead and launch this poll. Once again, it's anonymous. Love to see what your guys' response is to this poll. But are you on a team? Go ahead and click the appropriate answer and let us know, and then I'll share the results as they come up. So let's let that click in the background. Do you all have that access to that? Okay, you do. Good. Every once in a while, it disappears from my screen, and for a while, so waiting for it to come back. Oh, here we go. There we go. Everybody's clicking in. All right, everybody's playing along. Look at that. Great, great, great. Okay, so the answers are yes, I am currently part of a real estate team. Woohoo! Very small amount. Yes, I lead a real estate team. Lovely. Hopefully, you're learning some things here too. I think we're going to kind of dig into that side of it, because we got some people here, Greg, that have been in the business, and maybe they're looking at starting a team, right? And so what does that look like? So not only, fresh people looking to maybe join a team, but people looking to maybe start their own team. Because you get to a point of the volume that you do that you can only do so much, because there's so much paperwork, there's so much behind the scenes coordinating, all these things that have to happen in the background. You generally get to a point where you're like, okay, I can only do so much as one person.
Right.
Now I might need somebody else to help. So we're going to cover a little bit of that as we go forward too. And then, no, but I want to be a part of a real estate team. How about that? Most of the people say, yeah, I think I might want to. So I'm going to end the poll and I'm going to share the results. So look at that. 9% currently part of a team. 11% I lead a team. And then 80% say no, but I'm thinking about it. I'd like to be a part of a real estate team. Let me ask you, how do you, if I'm leading a team, because here's the thing, everybody. When you get out of real estate licensing courses and you go into the industry, a lot of people believe that when they go to work at a brokerage, your broker is your boss, and you're going to sit down and the broker is just going to start handing files on your desk, and you're like, yeah, sweet, here's another customer, I'm going to go get them, and the phone's going to ring, and that's not how it works. The broker is not your boss. Your broker is your business partner, plain and simple, right? Professional business partner, right? They've got some duties they do. You've got duties you do. Make sure you have an understanding of what the broker is going to do as your business partner, and then what your responsibility is. But you're an independent contractor mostly. There are some brokerage models out there where you're an employee. It's a very small part of our industry right now. But generally, if you're going to go into residential, even commercial, you're an independent contractor, and and let me ask you, how do you foster when you go to onto a team that's within a brokerage, or it could be multiple teams within a brokerage? How do you, as a leader, right? How do you foster a collaborative and a supportive environment among real estate agents who are often independent contractors? I like to say a lot of cowboys and cowgirls making their own, calling their own shots, right? They do their own thing. How do you get them to collaborate on a
Yeah,
team?
absolutely. I personally, I love this question, and we get it a lot, right? I think that it's the first thing that a majority of agents, especially new to the business, get into, and even some seasoned agents that have been in the business for so long, we sometimes have to retrain their brain to think a little bit differently. And the first step in that is your mindset, moving from scarcity to abundance. In the real estate world, agents sometimes feel like they're competing with each other for the same clients. And in all reality, I hate to break it to you, there's more business out there than any one agent could ever handle. I promise. So we teach our agents that the collaboration actually creates more opportunity. Let me repeat that again. More collaboration actually creates more opportunity. Let me break this down for you and kind of, again, give you more idea. The more signs that I have with our team name in our local community, the more business we are going to get. Yes, it may say Greg, it may say Toby, it may say Jamie, Laura, et cetera, but it includes our team name, just as it does your brokerage name, right? So again, there is plenty of business to go around, but when we collaborate together, we're creating more opportunity and saying, hey, that team is actually having great success. I should look into the ABC team at 123 Realty, right?
It's the old concept, right? The awareness, right? All boats in the harbor rise if there's a greater
Absolutely.
awareness. So
Right. And Gianna just put it in the chat box as well, right? It takes a village. So there's several ways that we actually bring this to life on a weekly basis. So we foster weekly masterminds. That's the biggest and most important. Our top producers openly share what's working right now for them with our brand new agents. Again, I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier. Hey, here's my listing presentation. I just signed 3 listings last month. Take it, use it, chop it up, make it your own. If you want to use it exactly as it is, go use it. It was successful for me. It's yours. Collaborative. Not the idea, unfortunately, of the old traditional way of real estate of this is mine, go create your own, you're my competition, right? Independent versus team. The second one is our mentorship programs. Every single one of our new agents shadows a veteran on their listing appointments, from negotiations all the way to the closing table. They get to see in real time what are the conversations that we're having, again, to be able to soak it in as a sponge, hear it, see it, practice it, and be able to then relive it. And then we go the opposite. We then, as the veteran agent, are hip to hip with them on their first couple transactions, where we then are just there to basically be the baby blanket, hold their hands, help them if they get in a place of, oh, I don't know how to answer this. What do I say here? And be there as that additional crutch if they so need it. Sometimes it's just like dropping off your little kid at kindergarten. They're like, get out of here, mom and dad. I got this. And we let them go on their own, but we're there ultimately if they need it. And then the final one, I've said it before, celebrations. You have to celebrate. We recognize first closings. We recognize anniversaries. We recognize major wins, whether they're big, small. We recognize wins on a daily basis. We here at my office, our leadership team, every single morning, we have a morning huddle and we say, who are we rolling out the red carpet for today? Each one of my leadership members, who is a paid employee on our expense reports, basically, who are you making feel special? Who are you going to roll the red carpet out for today? Whether that's you're going to give them a shout out in a meeting, you're going to give them a shout out on social media, whether you're going to go give them a pat on the back, buy them coffee, whatever the case may be, who are you going to go above and beyond to roll out the red carpet and celebrate today? People love being recognized. And when we have a team of 200, it takes a village, again, as Gianna said, to make sure that everybody feels loved on, supported, and recognized on a daily basis.
Love that. That's really, really good advice. I think about it myself. My wife is back into the industry after raising our kids. She's had a license before. She's back in, and I don't think I've celebrated her wins enough just listening to you. I
Sure.
think I'm in trouble. So hopefully she doesn't watch this quite for a while, and I'm going to make some amends because she's had a
There you go.
couple
You
really
have some
nice
time
wins.
before she gets the recording, right?
Yeah, right. It's exactly it. As much as you get, kumbaya moments and you get some great leadership, you get human beings are human beings.
Sure.
And there's rub. And the rub
Mhm.
inevitably will happen. So some of our people out there who are leading teams, they're nodding their head like, yeah, okay, yeah, you get that big team. Yeah, I guarantee you there's going to be conflict.
Yeah.
What do you have for some strategies for resolving conflicts and challenges, within a real estate team?
Absolutely. So I come from a big family, right? I was born into conflict. Conflict was at the dinner table every single night. Conflict happens pretty much every moment of every day. I believe that when you have a team, when you have a family, conflict is inevitable. It's part of the business. And if you're going to try and brush it under the rug and pretend that it's not there in your business, in your team, in your office, you're unfortunately just lying to yourself. It's inevitable. It's part of the business. It's going to happen. However, we take a three-prong approach to every conflict that happens within our office, and we call it our 3 C's. It's first and foremost clarity. We call the issue what it is. I personally believe that unspoken frustration always grows bigger in the dark. Again, unspoken frustration always grows bigger in the dark. So we come in with absolute clarity. What is the conflict? What is the issue? Why did we get here? How did we get here? There's always 2 sides to the story. Make sure that we have clarity and understanding from both sides. The second one, curiosity. We have to ask questions first. Most conflicts come from a misunderstanding, whether that's verbally, text message, email, just assuming, right? 9 times out of 10, that's where those conflicts arise. Come from that point of curiosity. When things feel the most tense, I encourage you to take a moment, step back, get some clarity, and ask questions, not only of yourself, but also of that other person. And last, the final one is compassion. I personally believe we are all in it for the same reason. We all want to get that client to the closing table. I want to get that commission check. Your clients want to get that house sold. Those buyers want to get into that house and start their future dream of home ownership. We're all in it for the same goal. The X is on the target. We're all headed in the right spot. We just got to come from a point of compassion. I have to always remember that people don't wake up every day wanting to fail or frustrate others. What we find out is when we say, hey, we're going to meet on this conflict on Wednesday at 12 noon, I'm going to ask each side to come with some clarity, to ask some questions. What is the issue? Come with some curiosity and come with some compassion. 9 times out of 10, we can actually solve the conflict within the first 10 to 15 minutes of sitting around the conference room table because they've already hashed it out in their mind and figured it out because there was some place in those 3 C's that they themselves or somebody else made a mistake and they realize it's not worth the frustration, the conflict, or the bigger issue that we made it out to be.
Let me ask you, tough question.
Yeah.
You ever had to fire somebody, let somebody go because you couldn't get the conflict resolved?
Of course. Yeah. There are bad apples out there. And that will be the biggest demise to your culture. Right. And as I mentioned, culture is one of our 3 pillars. We hire on it and we fire on it. I have had to let go of a top producing real estate agent who was one of my #1 closers because unfortunately he was the demise of my culture. And you have one bad apple and it can very quickly ruin absolutely everything that you put your blood, sweat, and tears into on a daily basis. And so I had to get rid of that large number of transactions, a large amount of money that was coming into the team and the brokerage. And we had to cut ways. And it was because, again, we didn't come from that place of clarity, curiosity, and compassion. I understand we can sometimes rub elbows. We can not always necessarily agree. But when it's a continuous problem and we can't necessarily always find then a clear path to get on to move forward, that's then ultimately when you have to make that hard and difficult decision to part ways.
Yeah, that's I love the way you put that. You rub elbows. They're like rubbing ain't rubbing is racing, right? But there's times when you're dangerous and you're dangerous for the team, and a good leader is going to be able to understand that and And then it becomes the value of the team, right? Team first. And that also then becomes a part of your culture, right? As people see how you solve a problem, right? That becomes a part of the culture.
I love that. We talk about that also often is that, conflict isn't necessarily the enemy. I think that we
Right.
also, again, conflict is that naughty word or that buzzword. We don't look at it as the enemy. We often look at it as the doorway to trust and growth. If it's handled with the right approach, it actually builds and fosters better culture.
Yeah. Cool. Good advice. Well, when do you realize, because you're up, you're running, maybe you're just starting out, you're going to join a team. How do you know if a team is good? How does a team know a team is good? Like what, we call them KPIs in the business world, right? What's your key performance indicators? Like what are you tracking?
Yeah.
What specific metrics or KPIs should real estate teams focus on in order to measure kind of success? What do you guys use?
Yeah, we call them scoreboards, right? I alluded to it a little bit earlier. Scoreboards matter. I've got one right here. This is my daily scoreboard. Every single one of my agents in my office has a daily scoreboard. We have a monthly scoreboard. We have an annual scoreboard. It's projected up on our walls. You can walk anywhere in my office. You know what the score is of the game at the end of every hour, at the end of every day, at the end of every month, at the end of every quarter, at the end of every year. Are we winning? Or are we losing? Scoreboards matter. Ultimately, what I believe is that you can't improve what you don't measure. So that's the biggest thing. I've seen so many teams over time struggle, and they ultimately just kind of throw spaghetti at the wall, thinking that this is what's going to fix it. Well, how do you know what you're even fixing if you're not measuring what is broken or what is working?
Right.
So there's actually 4 key metrics that we use, KPIs or metrics as we call them here. Number 1 is leads generated, right? We know that without leads, nothing else matters. If we don't have a database, we don't have people to talk to, we don't have business, right? So whether that's your COI, your own circle of influence, the database that's right here in your phone, the people that are your neighbors, your friends, your family, or the leads that you're going out and cold calling, cultivating, and nurturing. Leads, that's the number one that's on our scoreboard on a daily basis. Number 2 is our appointments set and held. This is ultimately what we call a true leading indicator of our closings. We know that that's where the dollar bills come from. That's how we all get paid, right? So we know that if we set X amount of appointments, it leads to how many then signed agreements that results then in how many closings. We specifically here on my team in general have it down and know our numbers and our conversion rates down not only to the month, but almost down to the minute. Prime example for you today is that we are leaving this afternoon and we are closing down our office to go on a parade of homes. We're going to lose valuable minutes in our business. We're not making calls. We're not nurturing. We're not setting appointments. We're not holding appointments. So we know that because we're going to be out of office, we have to make up that sometime somewhere else in the month, or we're going to be down in our closings 30, 60, 90 days down the road. So we equate for that. Our leadership team looks at that. It's not saying, hey, we can never have fun, can't be out of the office, can't have cultural events. But we know that when we take those times away, even the exact minute, when we remove 60 minutes of every day for a team meeting or a training, that means that we lose X amount of closings in the next 30, 60, 90 days.
So I don't need you to give away your trade secrets, but but if I was to give some advice to people who are fresh in the business, or because everybody says, like you said, you've got contacts in your phone. There's your first leads that you're going to get, as everybody you already know. But appointments set, appointments held, contracts entered into to closings. You probably have a ratio, right? Like here's how many appointments you got to have for how many closings, right? And just to give some of our fresh, students or fresh licensees an idea of how many appointments do I need to hold in order to get a closing? Do you have that that you could share? Just a general.
I do. And I believe that trade secrets, if it works for somebody, it can work for everybody. I have nothing that I keep secret. I actually just dropped it also into the chat box.
Go look in the chat, everybody.
There's a golden nugget there for you as well, but I'll say it here as well. We know that for every 100 contacts that we make equals roughly 40 2-minute conversations. So again, you're dialing today. I'm not going to reach all 100 people.
Right.
But on average,
Less
when I
than
dial
half.
100 numbers, I'm sorry?
Less than half, but 40.
Less than half, unfortunately, and less than half. But again, people are working. People don't answer your line. They want to text you. They don't necessarily always want to communicate with you. So 100. Oh, Jamie said it didn't go into the group chat. I apologize. There we go. 100. There it is. I'm sorry. So what we found out is for 100 contacts, again, essentially 100 dials, we get into 40 2-minute conversations. If we can converse with somebody for more than 2 minutes, we're most likely able then to get an appointment booked, because we're actually able to then sell our strategy. We can get an understanding of what they're looking for. Are they buying? Are they selling? Are they looking for comps? Are they wanting an analysis on their property? We can get some sort of peel back of the onion and understanding the need that they are looking for. Wow. On average, that then equals then 4 appointments from those 2-minute conversations, which then results in 2 signed agreements, an exclusive right to buy, an exclusive right to list, which results then in 1 closing then every 30 days.
How about that? That's a big nugget for everybody. So think about that. You have to have, you got to start with at least 100 contacts. And then you're going to have 40 conversations. But if you do it right, you're going to get 1 out of 10 are going to say, yeah, you know what, actually, I'd like to talk to you. We're thinking about, you get an appointment. You get 2 signed agreements out of that, means you get 50% of them. And then finally, out of 2 signed agreements, you're going to get 1 closing every 30 days. For whatever reason, your signed agreements don't actually, always equate to a closing. But so 100 contacts. So really, you need to have about 40 2-minute conversations to get a closing.
You got it.
That's it. There's your secret math, and that's a key KPI for all of you going into this. So, all right. So we got 2 KPIs. We got leads. We got appointments set and held, and leads generated, appointments set and held. Then what? You said you had a couple more.
Number 3, contracts written and closed, right? So it's that last one that you kind of mentioned on. We know that not every signed agreement is going to lead to a closing. We're in a world right now where interest rates are fluctuating, where buyers have a little bit more scarcity, depending on the market that you're living in. It's quite possible that the home falls off the market. It comes off because of an inspection. It terminates and maybe doesn't close in the next 30 days, but it goes back on the market and closes in 90 days. So there is some lag time measures there. The biggest thing that I really want to go back to there really quickly there, Toby, is what's funny is people feel like those numbers feel large, right? 100 contacts. Oh my gosh, 40 2-minute conversations. What's actually so interesting to me is, let's just say that you worked Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, 4 weeks out of the month, right? That's 20 days. And we want you to make 100 contacts to get 1 closing every 30 days. That'd be 12 closings a year, right? So if we made 100 contacts per month and we divided it by the 20 days, you're really only making 5 2-minute phone calls every single day to get a closing every single month for the next 12 months.
Right.
Feels pretty attainable when you say it like that. Right.
I mean, that's it, and I do know that as you start out, you might have to make a couple more calls to get there, but as you get better, you can make fewer and fewer calls because you get to it.
And your conversion rate gets higher and higher.
Exactly.
And then the last 4th one there is retention and growth of our team. Again, it's part of our scoreboard. We know that when happy agents are growing agents, right? And that's the ultimate measure of our culture. We have a scoreboard of that. When we first started today, you asked, how many agents do you have on your team? I can walk in every single morning and I can tell you the exact number. When I walk out of this office at 5 p.m., I can tell you the exact number. Our growth committee is bringing on agents on a daily basis. Yes. Do we lose some? Of course. There's retention and attrition that is happening on a daily basis, but it's at a scoreboard directly out of my office. It's a celebration on a daily basis. We started this morning at 188. I can literally look right over here. We've signed 2 since I've started this webinar with you. So right now, we're currently sitting at 190 agents as of Wednesday, August 20th at 12:46 Eastern time.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, I tell you what, we're coming down near the end, and we could keep going. We could be talking about
Sure.
technology, tools, and platforms because it looks like you got a couple good ones. And maybe we got to have you back for another round because I think that would be fantastic. I think people, if you'd be interested in something like that, everybody, just know, yeah, give a thumbs up. Also, you know, I think Jamie Cash has put into the chat that the conversation can continue on our forum. Questions. She's going ahead and already started the discussion on the real estate career forum at Kaplan. But if I had to boil it all down, right, Greg? Let's boil it down and let's give us a couple key takeaways. Let's go with, if we can get 3 key takeaways today, what should everybody take away from today?
I love it. Yeah. Number one, if you're writing notes, and to be completely honest, if you don't take anything else away from this webinar, I would ask that you remember these 3 things. And I call them my 3 truths. Number one, culture is the currency of success. Culture is the currency of success. You can have all the scripts, the systems, and technology in the world. You can spend every dollar on having every system there possibly is out there. But if your culture is broken, none of it matters. None of it. So people don't say that, or people don't stay at offices because of splits or leads. They stay because of how they feel when they're in the room with other agents. Culture is the currency that buys loyalty, it buys retention, and ultimately long-term growth. That's number one. Number 2, clarity, right? I talk about the scoreboards. Clarity is what creates that momentum for you and your team. When you have confusion, it kills people's confidence. They don't know where they're going. I talk about this all the time. Anytime that you're in a new city and you get on your phone and you're trying to put an address in the GPS and it continuously says rerouting, turn left, turn right, you get so confused. You get all up in your, oh, I'm so frustrated. This is so scary. I don't know where to go. It's the exact same thing. If you don't have clarity in your business, if your team does not have clarity either, they lose the confidence to continue to go after the business. However, when agents know exactly what winning looks like, the number of calls, the amount of appointments, the amount of contracts that you want them to go after, suddenly the impossible becomes possible, and it feels like they can hit that every single day. Momentum is ultimately what comes from clarity. Last one, third one, legacy is greater than a listing, right? I talked about this at the very beginning. At the end of the day, the business isn't about yard signs or commission checks. It's about changing lives. All along the walls, when you walk into my office, you will see real life people, buyers, sellers, lives that we have changed, helping them buy, sell, or invest in real estate. You're not going to see my photo. You're going to see my top agents' photos. We're just the vehicle. We are just the avenue to help make reality and home ownership a reality for these people. Every closing is someone's either first chapter, their fresh start, or maybe even a final step into retirement. What we know is that here at our office, a winning team understands that we're not just selling real estate, we are building legacies. And for our clients, for our agents, and for our communities, that's the only thing that matters to us.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Wow. What a wealth of knowledge and information, Greg. I got to tell you, I love your passion. I like your vision.
Thank you.
I think you're spot on a lot of this. And I hope everybody, you were able to appreciate kind of what we went through today. Once again, if you have any other questions, feel free to go to the real estate forum. Jamie put the link in there again, can ask some more questions. And I tell you what, we're going to try to, if you guys like it, we're going to try to get Greg back again for another round. That would be fantastic. Thanks again, everybody. This has been Real Experts, and we appreciate you, and we'll be in touch. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.